Flip to Freedom, episode number 16. Hello again, this is Sean Terry from the Flip to Freedom podcast. I'd like to welcome you to episode number 16. Now, I'm here to help you escape the 9-to-5 and live the lifestyle of your dreams by learning how you can make an absolute fortune flipping properties in your spare time, even if you're brand new and you're just getting started today. Now, I have got a great case study interview for you today with Joshua and Christina and I. And the amazing thing about this is that they had very, very limited cash. They had no credit, and they had no experience getting started. He works as a factory worker, making $2,000 a month, and in their very first transaction, they made $4,029 and some change. Now, you're going to learn in this exactly how they got their very first deal. You're going to learn how they only spent 5 hours actually putting forth the effort to get this deal, and they only spent a couple $100s on marketing. So they made over $805 an hour actually getting this their very first check. You're going to realize that they have didn't come from silver spoon. They actually came with no college education, very limited background, and they took this information and applied it and got unbelievable results. They're so excited. Their goal in the next 12 months is to make upwards to $10,000 to $20,000 a month. I'll explain that. You'll learn in this interview the exact marketing method that they used to basically get the leads to get this deal, how they structured the transaction, and how they closed the transaction, and who they sold it to. So this is a phenomenal case study interview. You're going to get a ton of information out of it. And also I want to remind you, the information that they learned to be able to accomplish this, they read in a 129-page book that I wrote, and it's How to Quit Your Job in 19 Weeks or Less. And it basically goes in detail specifically exactly what you need to do to go out and do the marketing and get the results working around your full-time job. You can get this for free. It's absolutely free. You can go to flip2freedom.com. That's flip2freedom.com. You'll see a video of me on the front page. There'll be a place where you can put your email. Just put your email in there, and I will email you a link that you can download this report for free. It's a 129-page comprehensive blueprint on how to quit your job in 19 weeks or less. And I can tell you, I hold nothing back. Now, at the end of this interview, make sure you listen to it in entirety. At the end of this interview, I am going to share with you the exact what marketing method they used, exactly specifically where you can go to get the information, and the list that they marketed to, where to get that list, and I'll give you a link and a website of where you can get that. So stay tuned to the end, because you're going to listen to exactly how they got the transaction. At the end, I'm going to show you exactly where you can get the same information that they did to be able to apply the information and get the success they had. So, without further ado, I'd like to get right into it. This is Joshua and Christina and I, and they are going to talk about how they went out and their very first deal made over $4,000 flipping properties with no experience, no cash, and no credit. All right, I'll talk to you on the next side. Take care. All right, well, here again, we are back for the Flip to Freedom case study here, and I'm excited to share this case study with you here today because I've got some very special people I'd like to introduce you to, and they have worked their butt off, and I am so excited to have them share their story with you because I know it will definitely make an impact in your life on how to do this business from the very start, from starting where you're at right now and in a job and be able to make your first check. Now, I'm sitting here with Joshua and Christina and I. Now, first off, tell me about, you work a job.
Right.
Tell me about your, why you want to get out of your job.
Because I know that if I were to stay in the job, I would never be happy. And I would never have the lifestyle that I want for myself and for my family. So,
what lifestyle do you want?
I want a lifestyle of freedom. I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to go see the rest of my family whenever I want. I I want to be able to do what I want, when I want, on my terms.
Right.
You know.
And now, how old are you?
31.
You're 31?
30.
30. And you've got 2 kids,
Mm-hmm.
right? How old are the kids?
8 and 5.
8 and 5. We got this in because it's crazy. Bam. So you got the kids that are 8 and 5, right? Now, I'm sure you want more than, that. Now, on your current job, what's your take-home monthly on your job?
Take home, I probably bring home about $2,000 a month.
So you bring home $2,000 a month, and how many hours do you work?
Full time, 40 hours a week.
So 40 hours a week, doing the grind, and what's your hours do you have to work?
Oh, they rotate. So, I mean, they're
Really?
horrible. I mean, they rotate every single month. So one month I'll be on, mornings. Then the next month I'm on evenings. And then next month I'm on graveyard.
Oh.
So, yeah. So you never get a set sleep schedule.
Right.
It's constantly rotating.
So you're working graveyard in the middle of the night. Oh, jeez, that's crazy. Okay, so you obviously wanted to get out because you didn't have a growth potential there. Is that right?
I mean, I could grow, with the company, but never to the point where I would be happy.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I look at the other people who work there, the guys who have been there for 20,
Right.
30 years, and the only thing they have to look forward to is retirement.
Right.
The weekends and retirement.
Yeah, I think you're telling me they can't wait till Friday
they can't wait
to go
till Friday.
drink all weekend, drink themselves into oblivion, right?
Exactly. And,
Right.
that's not the lifestyle I want for myself.
Right.
And I can't picture myself doing that for 20 years,
Right.
30 years. Yeah, that's unacceptable.
So where did you guys come from? I mean, your parents, what did you come from a silver spoon? I mean, were
No.
they multi-millionaires?
Not at all.
No, what about your parents, Christina? What?
Well, my dad was in the Navy for 21 years.
Mhm.
So we moved around a lot. He's got a little bit of an entrepreneurial spirit, but he's really never had the means to go anywhere with it.
Right.
And I don't think, I don't know if he really believed that any of the things they ever tried, they just never found the right thing for them.
Right vehicle. What do you think the most they ever made, annually? Just guessing. Ballpark.
Enough to get by.
Enough to get by.
Yeah.
So they're living month to month, just getting
Yeah.
by, nothing. What about you?
My family, pretty much the same way. I mean, we lived paycheck to paycheck growing up. We didn't have a whole lot. I remember, especially growing up in Southern California, I mean, there's so many things to do out there, and we never had the money to do them.
Right.
You know,
So
that's
your
just-
friends were doing stuff. They were going on
Yes.
vacations. They were going doing stuff, but you had to be kind of go to grandma's house, instead, to have spam dinner.
Exactly.
And I know for both of us, as children, you have to hear no a lot
Yeah.
because your family just doesn't have the means
Right.
to give you what you want, what you're asking for.
Yeah.
And at this point, for most of our children's lives, we've had to tell them no.
Right.
And that's one reason for me to do this business, so I don't have to tell my children
Right.
no anymore.
Right. Right. So you definitely have a motivation motivation that gets you to work with driving to accomplish something.
Yes.
So I want to make that point. That is key. You've got to have an internal motivation in your gut to be able to want to become better and become more. And then it's the motivation for education, and it's motivation to actually action, to go do something for it.
Exactly.
Okay, so why real estate?
Real estate, I chose real estate because just from what I'd heard and what I'd seen, it seemed like one of the best vehicles around to be able to achieve what I wanted financially
Right.
in the shortest amount of time.
Right.
So that's why I chose real estate. And so far it's
So you like that? Yeah.
yeah.
Right. What about you? It's kind of a family.
Mine, yeah, he was doing it first. He started the education of it.
Right.
And I was doing Avon when he first got into it.
Mhm.
And he asked me one day if I wanted to do it with him.
Mhm.
And at first for me it was I believed in him,
Right.
but I didn't believe in the process of the real estate
Right. Right.
investing. But now as I've gotten more into it,
Right.
I believe in the vehicle itself now.
Yeah. Looking at it and
Yeah.
doing it and stuff like that. Okay. So now so you picked the real estate, but there's two paths of real estate investing. You can either buy houses, renovate them, fix them up, which then it takes a lot of capital infusion to be able to do that. So how much money did you have to start the business?
Oh my goodness, we had barely anything.
About $1,500.
Yeah. Oh,
About
yeah.
that.
Yeah. To be able to do something with, right?
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
So you couldn't go buy a house for $1,500,
No, not at
right?
all.
You couldn't go flip a house or fix it. I mean, you're talking, especially in Phoenix here, and I bought a lot of fix and flipping houses here. I mean, you're talking $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 of liquid capital to be able to flip a house. So now you want to get involved in real estate investing. You have a limited amount of capital to be able to do something. So then we talked, right?
Mm-hmm.
We happened to meet at one of the restaurants down here, and we talked about doing bandit signs, but also we talked about doing yellow letters, right? Now, the first deal, right, so you went out and put some bandit signs, you went out and did some yellow letters. Now, let's talk about, because you got this deal off of yellow letters, is that right?
Yes.
Right.
Okay, so let's talk about the yellow letter first. So yellow letter, you just basically wrote, you wrote them out yourself?
Yes.
So you wrote out the yellow letter, and what did it say? No, so it was on basically just this right here. And you wrote them out here. And you just wrote out a yellow piece of paper, and what did it say?
Well, I mean, you start out with dear whatever person or family that you're sending the letter to.
So it's
Make it
personalized. Yep. So
Very
dear. Okay.
personalized. And then next you say, hi, my name is Christina Vallecillas. My husband Joshua and I would like to buy your house at the address of the house that you want to buy. You tell them, please call us at whatever phone number it is that you're using for your business. And then it says, please call, thanks. And your first name, real
So you
personalized.
got your name, you got that. It's real personalized, and then you put it in a envelope, right? And you put it with a real stamp, and you send it out. Now, now we've used yellow letters extensively, and what's great about the yellow letter is that the response rate is superior to postcards, superior to just any regular letters you send. And because it is personalized to the address and is personalized to the person, so the response rate is actually great. So how now when the thing is, people are curious when they actually get the letter, like, wow, it's personalized, and it prompts them to call.
Yeah.
Now, not every person is going to be a seller. That's the misconception. You might get 25, 30, 40, 50 calls, but you might get 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 people that actually are potential sellers. Now. So how many letters, now you wrote these, right? You didn't have a company. We have a company that actually writes them for us. So you actually sat and wrote these yourself.
Right.
Now, how many did you both did too?
Yeah. We sat right at the table. And
Okay. Now, how many did you actually write?
That first listing, I think it was probably about 650 names that we sent out.
650 letters that we sent out.
650 letters that you sent out. Wow. So, and you kind of split the work, and so around your job, you come home and you be busting out yellow letters and writing. See, now that's determination and that's persistence right there, and I like it. Okay, so you sent out a letter, and it was to an absentee investor who owned an investment property here in Phoenix, and they responded to the call. Now, how many calls out of that initial 650 did you?
30, 40.
Actually, we got more than that because between them and the bandit signs, we got about 100 calls.
Wow, that's a lot.
So
now, and I remember some of the calls coming in. Some of them were out of state, and we sent offers to, and they didn't really respond to them and stuff. Yeah. But this particular one, the person called up, and who'd you talk to?
It was actually
the son, right?
The son-in-law of the actual owner.
Right. And so you talked to him, and what did you say when he called up?
Well,
so you took the calls, right? You were at work.
Right.
You took the calls. Okay. What did you say to this gentleman?
Basically, I explained that we were investors in the Phoenix area. I explained to him that we and our partners were looking for some houses to buy. I told him that the advantage of going us was selling fast, and you'd get cash for the property.
Right.
And I also brought up the fact that if you put your house on the market, it's going to take God knows how many months to sell it. You're going to have to pay money to fix it up, or you can get it on the market. And we take a property as is.
Right.
So I guess that piqued his interest, and they said,
Look at you. Look at her.
Oh, no.
She's just whipping off the,
rock star, right?
I've got enough practice now. It's practice.
But now,
it wasn't like this at
the first call.
Oh, the first call.
I'm shaking.
I'm shaking.
Really?
Very
So
but
someone
it's
calls,
not
what did I
even-
say? You know?
Yeah, it's not even that very first call. It's your first dozen calls. You
Right,
know?
right.
It's a process of figuring out the right thing to say.
Mhm.
And even now, after 3-4 months of taking calls,
Right.
I'm still learning how to handle people.
Right.
You know, you're still learning how to, and I think for people out there, one of the things you really need to learn right off the bat is to control the phone call.
Control the
It is
conversation.
one of the most important things you can
Right.
do, like you told me.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And, I mean, because they're going to drill you with questions, but you got to drill the questions back.
Right,
So it's almost
exactly.
like playing tennis.
Right.
You know, they hit the ball to you and say, so why are you sending me this letter? You know, because I was wondering if you want to sell your house. And they volley it back and say, well, how'd you get my name? And you volley it back and say, well, I got named through the tax records. And and what happens is when you get to a point to where you're asking questions right back, and then what happens is then you take control of it and say, well, are you interested in selling your house? And you volley it back, and they go, well, I was thinking about it. And they go, great, tell me about the property. And then what happens is then they start telling you about the property. You took control of the conversation, and then you start getting results, because then you can lead them down the path to find out if they really do have interest or motivation.
Right.
Now, when you're talking to these people, the biggest thing you're looking for is the motivation to
Right.
sell. Now, what made you feel? Because I remember you called me about this particular one. You said, this is it. I know it's the one. I know it. You knew in your gut for some reason that this was the one. What made you get that feeling?
I think first off, of course the numbers were right.
Mm-hmm.
They just looked good.
Mhm.
But it was more in his tone. It was in the fact that he was listening to what I had to say.
Mhm.
He was cooperating very quickly
Mhm.
in answering any questions that I had for him.
Mhm.
And I just got the feeling off of his tone and what he was saying that he had made that call with the intention of selling the house.
Okay, so then with other calls that came in, you didn't feel that type of,
No.
so it was very, so now when, let's say you send out another batch of letters, you'll be very, you'll know what to look for, right?
Exactly.
So, and I know when I take calls from motivated sellers, when someone, when someone calls in, I very quickly can know if they have motivation there or not. And if they don't have motivation, I try to do what I can do to refer them to either a realtor or the best way they can get the most amount of money for the property. But once you figure out that motivation, it definitely works. So, okay, so it called in, you figured out the motivation, you figured out the value using, simple tools like Zillow and e-appraisal and stuff like that. And then we actually set an appointment, which one of the number one goals is to actually is to set the appointment to actually go look at the property. Now, the seller was at a state, so we had to actually set an appointment with the tenant.
Yes.
How was that? Was that?
Well, to begin with, the owner of the property, he's 92 years old.
Right.
So it's one reason he had his son-in-law taking care of the whole process for
Right,
him. But it was difficult to get the appointment to stick with the tenants.
Right.
We finally did get an appointment with them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I believe the day of or the day before the actual appointment, we got a phone call saying that I think for one, she had an abscess tooth, and then next her husband spilled water on his foot and ended up getting burned.
Right.
And I think we had to reset the appointment 3 different times.
Right.
But then we finally got it.
Right.
I know you guys finally got in the house, right?
Yeah.
Checked out everything.
So what happened was we finally got the appointment set. Met Josh out there. We went out there and we looked through the house. Now, was this house spectacular?
No, not at all.
Yeah, it was spectacular. Now, I believe, after looking at the comps and everything, it's probably worth in the probably, I'd say 80s or so. Completely fixed up. The after repair value, if the place is completely fixed up, it probably needed roughly $10,000 to $15,000 of work. And what happened is, what did the seller owe on the property?
He ended up owing, I believe, right around $34,000.
Yeah, 34.
Still on his mortgage.
Yeah, still his mortgage, and we wanted to get a little bit of cash out, of course. So basically, what happens? We went and looked at the property. We went through it. We actually made friends with the tenant, which is good.
Yeah.
We found out there were issues on the property that needed to be fixed that they liked, but they'd been there for 13 years and they wanted to continue paying, but they hated their landlord at the time. I mean, not the landlord, but they hated the property management firm, and they're paying $975 a month, which was a premium for that particular area. Okay, so then what happened was, after we looked at the house, figured out the value, they owed 34. You said 34. Then what we actually had to negotiate now with the seller to basically try to get the deal. Now, we basically gave them a couple different options. We said, okay, you can leave the $34,000 in place, and we'll give you, I think it was like $3,000, and then, or we can pay the whole thing cash, and we'll just pay $1,500 over your mortgage. And I think they came back and they did a counter offer, and they basically said, okay, just give us the $3,000, pay the $34,000 off cash, and it's a deal.
Right.
And we didn't go back and try to renegotiate. We said, fine, let's make it work. And that's what we did, right? Yep. So we got that, and you sent them a contract.
Yep.
Yes.
They had, and he had. Now, what was that? They're out of state,
California.
right? So you had to go send it. The son-in-law had to go drive over.
And it was actually 4th of July weekend.
Right,
Okay?
I remember that.
And we actually did email the contracts and everything to the son-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes back to us and says that the owner, this 92-year-old man, does not like to do things electronically.
Mm-hmm.
So we would have to use regular mail to
Snail
get it to
mail.
them.
Snail mail.
So
they made you work for this first deal.
we had to work for this
Yeah,
deal like
yeah,
crazy.
right.
But we finally get the contract to them, and the son-in-law and the owner live about 50 miles apart from each other, which in California is like about a 2-hour drive.
Yeah.
So we had to wait for the son-in-law for the weekend to go to the owner's house,
Right.
go over the contract with him,
Right.
sign everything,
Right.
and then the son-in-law scanned and emailed everything back to us.
Right.
So this was the process just any time that we had paperwork that needed to be done.
Right.
This is
Back
what we
and
had to go
forth.
through.
Right.
So,
Wow. Even when we got all the paperwork, the title report, everything, you had to
Yes.
FedEx it out, go through
Yes.
this whole process, get it all
Yes.
back. Okay. So we got the contract back, opened up escrow, looked at the house, did the whole thing, opened up escrow, pulled all the paperwork, got everything, and then we found a landlord, actually a buyer, a cash buyer, who is a landlord who wanted to keep the tenant in place, and we sold him the property. Now, what did we sell to him roughly?
47, 48.
Yeah, 47, 48. Yeah. So by the time we paid the 34 and any fees in there, paid them the 3 and the closing costs and stuff, it basically left about an $8,000 profit, right? We did what's called a double escrow transaction on this. So it left about an $8,000 profit, of which we split that profit. Now, you got a check here for $4,029.54. Now, this is your first check in real estate. Now, was this exciting to receive this check once we closed?
It was.
yes and no.
Yes.
For us, because it took us, 3-4 months to get there.
Uh-huh.
It's like we knew we were going to get there. We knew it worked.
Right.
But you have your doubts,
Right,
You had
right.
to go through so much. So by the time
Yeah, because
you
it
get
takes work, though, right?
It does.
It takes work. It takes effort. It
It
takes.
does.
Yeah.
I think it took a little longer for us than it does for most people.
Yeah.
But, it's still here.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know you see it, such like Matt in 3 weeks, he makes and stuff like that, and stuff. But the thing is that you did it.
Yeah.
You made, $4,000, which is double what you make on your job,
Yes.
and it's by your own terms,
Exactly.
and you could do it from home. The kids can be playing whatever. You guys could be writing letters at the table, putting out signs, or doing whatever. But it's something that came in now. So you were excited, but you were like, let's do it again. Let's, you just want to keep on, keeping it going, right? Of course.
Exactly, because you know that you have this check in your hands, and it's like as soon as we had that check in our hands, we're walking out of the title company. And I remember actually tapping him and showing him the check, going, it's real.
It's real.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But then there's that other part of you that's like, okay, don't get too excited because this can't be, a one-hit wonder.
Right.
You've got to take some of that and you've got to put it back into the business, which we did. I mean, we've got our bandit signs right over there.
Yeah, you got some bandit signs and stuff. Now, let me ask you a question. What was the biggest obstacle? Was it mental? Was it physical? What was the biggest obstacle? Because I remember one time going, I don't know, is this going to work? And you guys are working around a job. You got kids to take care of. You're busy. You've got hours. You're working graveyard shifts, doing all this stuff, but you still found the time to write some letters, to put down some signs and stuff like that. What was the thing what was your biggest obstacle?
Mental, that's it.
Mental, really?
I think it's the mind games you play with yourself. You know,
So
that's-
is it the doubt?
It's the doubt.
It's the doubt.
It is the doubt. It's doubt.
And what was the doubt?
Is it going to work?
Is
It's
it gonna
been
work?
so long. It's taking so long. And we had so many delays and so many things kept coming up.
Now it's funny. It's funny that she says so long because it's been about so you got your you start putting out letters and stuff. So you got your it's about 60 days before you got a contract, right? Right, and then we had to go through getting the contract. Actually, it's less than that. Probably about 45 days to get your contract, and then it took some time to get the contract signed because you had to go back and forth. Then time to get the contract back and all that type of stuff. So actually, the time we were in contract on a property, so it's about 45 before you really first got that contract and got it going. Come on, buddy.
Gabriel.
This is Gabriel. This is the reason why.
Yes.
Why we do
This business for you, pal. So you know what? So you will be set for life.
Right.
So
For me, it wasn't that though. For me, I think it was just trying to work it around my job and everything.
Yeah.
See, because for me, and this is why the check was exciting to get.
yeah.
Not as exciting as I thought it would be. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you why.
Yeah, it never is though. It never is. People go, when I get my check, I'm going to be. Ah! But then when you get it, you're like, it's because you're working for that so hard, and it's the next level. You're expecting it.
Yes.
And then you go, okay, I know I'm going to get it, and it's expecting it, and then the elation is not there, anymore, which is good.
See,
because
for me, and I want to tell you the story. See, for me, I have already gotten so many checks in my head. I have visualized it so many times. In fact, when we had finally decided to work together,
right.
I remember this. I remember going to the store, and while my wife was driving, and I was in the passenger seat, and I had a pad of paper.
Right.
I actually started writing out checks from your company to our company.
Yeah.
$15,000 checks, $20,000 checks, $25,000 checks. So I have done this so many times
in
my
your head. But hey, you got a lot more coming. You got a lot more coming there. All right. So these mind games. I want to talk about that real quick. These mind games that you played with yourself. This doubt. How did you overcome that?
Because we had a vision. Because we had that motivation, that drive. We knew with a certainty that this business could work. We knew that if we did the things that we're supposed to do, that it would work for us eventually.
Right, because it's really fairly simple. I mean, you put out marketing, whether it be bandit signs, letters, or website, whatever. You get leads coming in. Those leads coming in, and it's be able learning the business to be able to talk to the leads, to figure out motivation, to set the appointments, to get the contract, and then going through the whole closing process. But I mean, it's not rocket science. I'm not like I always say, I'm not the smartest tool in the shed. I just get a lot of leads coming in, and I get, that's the only difference between you and I, really. It's just experience and know how to structure a deal and negotiate and get it through it. Right. So to overcome that, you, what was it?
You have to keep the end in sight.
You gotta have a compelling future in mind. You have to have a reason bigger than yourself to do it. You have to have a why that's big enough, because if you have a why that's big enough, then the how doesn't matter.
Right.
You will find a way.
Find a way.
But you have to have a big enough why.
Right.
I mean, in an extreme case, like an analogy, if one of your children, if you got a phone call from a kidnapper saying, "Hey, I got your kid. You got 30 days to give me $1 million."
Right.
Or something bad's going to happen. You will find a way.
Right.
Because you have a big enough why.
Yeah, and it's funny, and you see people where a car tips over on a kid,
Exactly,
and the parent comes in and lifts the car with a supernatural power and takes the car off the kid. Where does that come from? I mean, that comes from like an internal, intestinal fortitude to basically, to be able to have that, to be able to continue. And I think you need that here in this business as well to cut through the stuff in your head and just say, it will work, I can do it, and just keep it forward. Now, this is just obviously the beginning.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean? The very beginning. Where do you see the future for this for you guys?
We're going to be one of the biggest wholesalers in
investors, period. in
Investors.
Phoenix, yeah,
Phoenix.
Perfect.
definitely.
I mean,
That's
it's going to go from wholesaling to fix and
Fix and
flip.
flip to buy and hold
Buy and
to yeah, and I mean our goal, and I mean our goal is basically work part time.
Yeah.
I'm making $50,000 to $60,000 a month.
Be able to run our
Yeah.
business from Italy while,
Doing
we're on
your own
vacation.
thing and
Yeah.
vacation and
Yeah.
have the kids set and have
Yeah.
everything. Right. Okay. So now to get from here to there, what steps do you think need to happen?
We need to be able to market bigger.
Bigger.
More avenues than just right now. We're financially we're only able to do yellow letters and bandit signs.
Yeah, because we're on a budget.
Right.
So, but we still do the marketing. We
Right,
still
right.
get it all out there.
And that's the thing is, I mean, okay,
So
maybe,
it would be maybe just be more marketing then, right?
right.
Right.
So
Right.
I mean, let's say you sent out 2,000 a month, and let's say you didn't do it, but you had a company do it.
Right.
That was automated and set, and then you had something automated putting out signs, and you had internet marketing was going. That was automated.
Definitely.
Everything was automated, completely done. To where it was set. You just had leads coming in, and then you could take those leads and process. So it's basically just
Definitely.
bigger marketing, really.
Yeah, just
Yes.
get more leads. The more leads
Because-
leads you get, the bigger.
Right, and
you
I
get.
tell people what the more leads you get.
You can't do this business without the leads because the leads are your deals.
Right.
And you have to. It's all a numbers game. He's always saying it's a numbers game.
Right.
You have to go through, like you say in your podcast, so many leads before you get that deal.
Right.
You
And
know?
it might be more for some people. People go, the average is about 25, you get one deal, right? But sometimes you might have to go through 50 and you get one deal.
Right.
So it's not a precision where if you get 25 calls, you'll get one deal. It doesn't work that way. It works to where you got to take the calls, do the time, get the information, learn the business, and then guess what? Now deals come, deals come now for me very easily because I can tell which ones are hot, which ones aren't, which ones I can make happen, and which ones can't happen. All right, so to wrap this up, what would you tell someone that's brand new? They don't have. They took how much capital did it take you to get this first deal? How much cash outlay would you say?
A few $100s.
Yeah, because we got it from the yellow letters. You're paying for.
The padded paper, your
Padded
time.
paper.
So it's more your sweat equity.
Oh yeah,
Right.
definitely.
I like that.
Postage stamps.
Sweat equity. Your sweat equity. Yeah, you're good. All right, so
True.
a couple $100 sweat equity and resulted in over a $4,000 check, which is double what you make on your job, right?
Right.
And how many hours do you think? Now you did it yourself. So how many
Right.
hours do you think you've put in?
Well, just recently we sent out about 450 letters.
Yeah, I'm talking about to get. Let's say to get the result.
this deal?
Yeah, this particular deal, because you'll.
Just a couple. Between phone call and writing the letter, not even an hour.
No, I'm talking. Yeah, so the time is to write the letters and to put out some bandit signs, to take the calls and stuff. We went on the appointment. That took about an hour, and we wrote some
Yeah.
calls. So you're talking about 5 hours?
Something like that. Yeah.
Not
Okay.
even a full work day.
Okay, so
Not a full work day, that's for sure.
so it wasn't a full work day.
No.
So
No.
that was the time amount of hours. You spent out a couple hundred. Now I got my phone here, and I just want to add this up. So you basically take 4,000 $29 divided by 5 hours equals that's $805 an hour.
That's
An
very
hour. Now I know predominant attorneys here in town
That's right.
that don't make $800 an hour. And the thing is that our attorneys, we pay $400 an hour, and that's extravagant. $800 for that time. Now,
we don't have college education.
No.
yeah,
We
yeah,
didn't go to college.
right,
High school education. I work in a factory.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm a stay-at-home mom.
This business
Stay-at-home
is
mom,
very
right.
doable. It's
Right.
very, very doable. Anybody can do this business.
Yes.
To me, I would say you just got to get your mind right.
You got to get your mind right, know what's going to happen, and then put forth the effort to be able to do it. Because you had to do the letters, you had to do the signs. So a guy that's brand new, he's sitting there and he's watching this on the website, whatever, or he's listening to this on the podcast, and he's sitting there and he's going, I don't know, this sounds too good to be true, I'm skeptical or whatever. What can you tell them? I mean, it's just.
I would say start off with your thinking, and because you got to be able to believe in it. You have to be able to believe in it. So, I mean, and it's very possible. I mean, there's tons of examples out there. It's very, very possible. People are doing it every single day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're a perfect example.
Yeah.
So start off with your belief, and then take action.
Right.
Action is critical, and it takes you from your dreams to reality.
Yeah.
That action is what bridges the gap.
Yeah, and you're exactly, because action, what happens is you create momentum, the calls coming in, you get over the fear of the first 12 calls coming in, and you do that, and then you go, okay, and you get confidence in yourself, it continues to go, and then that instills the belief. But to never start is probably the worst thing that could possibly happen.
And I think, action's important, but it's also got to be consistent. You have to, because you are your own boss.
Yeah.
You have nobody pushing you.
Right.
You have nobody setting limits for you.
Right.
So you have to set those for yourself and
Right.
keep pushing yourself every day.
Right.
And when that doubt comes in, because it will, it will come in.
Right.
When it comes, you have to have that vision and that dream and your goals.
Right.
Because that's what gets you over those challenges.
Now, did it help having me there or a support system
Oh,
to
yeah.
be able to,
Big time.
be able
We love
to,
Sean.
to be able to help with, and it was more because, maybe a phone call or something or an email back or whatever to where it be. Now, I mean, we spent a lot of time on the phone. We set appointments and stuff. So 90% of it was just saying, here's what you do. You went and implemented, and then call in a little bit of whatever, and maybe less than 20 minutes on 30, a half hour on the phone, whatever. And it was basically, it gave you say, okay, I can do this. Okay, I can do this, and just giving you support, really.
Yeah.
To be able to implement the plan. But it was primarily you guys taking the information and applying it is what got the result. There was no magic that I did, so it wasn't like. So if you're in, Detroit or if you're in, Pennsylvania or whatever, you don't have to have someone like, me that's going to be there to do it happen. It was just a support mechanism. So the support, to be able to have that support there is key, which helps because then you don't think you're crazy. You know what I mean? You're like, I know I can do it,
And it's like, I think one of the biggest things for me, and I think for Josh as well, is that, we're doing all of this and we're coming up against these challenges and these obstacles. And we would call you, and we're like, oh my God, are we doing this right?
Right.
Are we doing anything wrong?
Yeah.
And you would just be like, no, you're doing everything fine. Just keep going.
Yeah, keep going.
And
you're like,
that extra little push.
You're like, okay. And then bam, then this happens, and then the closing, and then we call them in. Well, we got to sell it, and then, it's like I've done so many of these type of transactions, and continue doing so many that it's to me it's just a process. You know what I mean? If you follow the process, you'll get the result.
Right.
So so let me ask you, where do you think you could be in say 12 months? If do you think you could? Now, what do you make a year?
36,000
a year. So do you think you could make on a part-time basis 36,000?
Yeah. Definitely.
Oh, definitely.
So what do you think in the next 12 months? Today, I mean, it's August right now. So next August, where do you think you can be? Following these steps, increasing your marketing, getting more leads coming in. Next August, where do you think you can be?
At least 20 or 30,000 a month.
At least.
Okay, 20 or 30,000. Now he's makes 36,000 a year.
A year.
Okay,
Right
year.
now, a year.
So now you have the belief in your head. You accomplished this. You did it. You increase your marketing. That a year from now you can make 20, 30,000 a month. Okay. Now, what if you let's say you screw up, right?
Yeah.
And you make 10,000 a month. That is 10,000 a month is, it's many times more, 5 times more than you make currently right now. Now, what would $10,000 a month do for your family?
Oh my goodness.
That still gives you so many more options than what we have
Than what we
currently.
have right now. Yeah.
Exactly.
$2,000 a month to $10,000 a month. That's a huge difference.
And that's
huge.
ultimately what it's about is choices.
Yeah.
It's not about the money.
Yeah.
That's just a byproduct of, the journey of becoming stronger within yourself by doing this business because of the challenges you have to face and overcome.
Right.
But it's also the money only gives you options.
Right.
It gives you choices.
Yeah. So this check resembled obviously a lot more than $4,000 for you.
Yes,
it
definitely.
resembled a lot more than that. So it actually what did it do for your family? For your family, you got your 2 kids and stuff. What did that do? It instilled I'm sure confidence and stuff like that. But what did it do knowing that you got this? Not the dollar amount, but you got this for freedom, I guess.
It was, I think it was huge because, it kind of just, exactly. It made it all real. Made it all, yes, this is real, this could really happen, and it can happen for us.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not someone special out there. It's not
Right.
someone, like I said, we talked about your backgrounds and stuff. So it's not, you don't have to have a silver spoon. You don't have to have a ton of money. You don't have to have a ton of experience because you didn't know a lot about real estate, getting started. So you don't have to be a special personality type. You don't have to. You just have to follow the process and you'll get the results, and that's why I tell people, that are brand new and they're just getting started, if you can just get your first check,
Yeah.
it will solidify the thing. So you have to do everything you can to get your first check. And once you get the first check, you've done it once. You know how to do it. There'll still be doubt. Doubt's not over. You know what I mean? You'll still have the doubt and go, well, can I get another one? Is there another one? Is there another one I can do? And then you'll get the other one. You'll get another one. You'll get another one. You get another. And what happens is you're going, wow, I get it. This is not rocket science. Just going to get more leads, really,
Yeah, exactly.
and then expanding from there. So I want to thank you so much for your time, and it's been great to get to know you guys during this process, and you and your kids and stuff like that, and learning it. And I'm so excited to see you progress in the next 12 months to that. We'll do a case study a year from now,
That's right.
and
Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
and saying, hey, we turn around did or your next deal, or whatever. But I do want to thank you very much for your time and what you've done.
Thank you for everything.
Yeah.
Huge help.
Yeah. So, well, that is our case study. You guys did a great job. I know you're nervous getting in front of the camera there. Your kids have been great watching the movie in the back room back there, and I really appreciate that. And I hope you got the information that we tried to portray out of this case study. And we've got a bunch more case studies coming up. So stay tuned.
Now that was a great interview, wasn't it? I hope you got some great information out of that and inspired you that you can get started irregardless of your background, where you came from, how much money you have, what your college education is. You can get started if you apply these steps, the action steps. You will get results from this. And I hope this solidified for you that you can go out and do this. Now, I told you I had this great resource for you, and I want to let you know what this is. First off, they use what's called a yellow letter. Now, what we do is they actually wrote the yellow letter themselves. We actually have a company that writes the letters for us, and then they send it to them, and we actually mail them out. But you can go to yellowletter.com. I'll have this information in the show notes at flip2freedom.com. Just click on the podcast tab, and you can click into this particular post, and you can see the show notes. But in there, it's yellowletter.com. It's the original yellow letter. And you can actually order from there. You can email them the list. They will write them all up for you, and you can send them out. The list, the best list that we use is what's called the inheritance list. And you can get that from usleadlist.com, usleadlist.com. And you can go there, and you can get the information. And I also put a link to that website so you can get that information there. So I hope you like this case study. Stay tuned for next week, because I got a great story for you. I have a gentleman who actually emailed me and told me his story of what was going on in his life. And I'm going to tell you exactly how I responded to that. I actually called him up and actually talked to him. And I'm going to tell you exactly how I responded to that. And I think you'll get some great information. So make sure you subscribe to the iTunes podcast so you get that directly in your feed there. So you can downloads automatically into your iTunes there. You don't want to miss next week. It's going to be a great episode of looking at obstacles and challenges and things and exactly how I responded to that so we can go out and get results. All right, so until next time, take care and God bless, and I wish you the ultimate success in your real estate investing career. God bless.